Sandro Tonali. Whether you meant that or not, that goal is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. If you haven't already, you have to go and check that out. Type it in on Twitter, look on YouTube. It'll be all over your group chats. It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, a lot of people are going to say, of course, I don't particularly think he meant that. It looks like he meant to cross the ball. But sometimes you need an element of luck to win a Premier League game. And that is exactly what they got with that goal. Newcastle 2, Brentford 1. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was watching the Liverpool game as well. So I didn't get all of the games. So if I do miss anything, please let me know down below. But that is a big, big win tonight for Newcastle. A massive win. Off the back of a cup final, off the back of a winning their first bit of domestic silverware in a long, long time. They battered Brentford for shots on target. Brentford had more possession, don't get me wrong. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We are steam rolling our way towards 50,000 subscribers, and 90% of you who watch the content every single month are not subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Go down, hit that subscribe button. We are 35 subs off of 49k, 1,035 off the big 50k. Tomorrow night as well, Tottenham away to Chelsea, which is going to be painful. I can already tell. But this Newcastle game, listen, Livramento and Trippier, again, doing a relatively good job. Brentford are not an easy team either. Shed's a good player. Of course, we know Buemo and we know Visa. They got some good players. I thought Tonali, and Joelinton had really, really good games. I thought Bruno was okay. Isak just does what Isak does best and scores. But what the two players that I was relatively impressed with, and one player that I do give a lot of stick for, and that is, of course, a lot of stick to Murphy. You know, I have given him a lot of stick this season because I do think Newcastle need more of a dependable attacker. Someone like Buemo would be brilliant. But this season, he stepped up, and he stepped up a lot. And in big games. Hiccups, excuse me. In terms of the lineup they played, that midfield picks itself. Of course, Pope picks himself. Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn is, at the moment, is the best centre-back on form. Trippier, Livramento, no Lewis Hall. Grimares, Tonali, Joelinton, Murphy, Harvey Barnes, and Isak. No Gordon, no Hall. In terms of the bench, Wilson, Kraft, Willock, Miley come on. I think Gordon, is he still out suspended? But look, in terms of that Brentford team, they've got players that can cause you problem. That front four, I'm a big fan of that front four as well. Norgard as well is a good player. They caused Newcastle some issues. You know, of course, they did give the penalty away, and Buemo stepped up and scored. But in terms of the first half, you know, in terms of the chances they had, in terms of the overall, you know, end of the first half, Newcastle dominated. They absolutely dominated it. They had an XG of something like 0.94, and Brentford had an XG of something like 0.24. Of course, Alexander Isak gave them, he makes no mistake, had a decent chance just before that as well. You know, Murphy drives forward down the right-hand side before crossing into the path of Isak, who just kind of strokes it past Flecken. Goal number 20 of the Premier League season, which is absolutely extraordinary. 20 Premier League goals. You know, this guy is a big game player. For me right now, he's top 3, top 4 number 9s in world football. He really, really is. I put him up there with the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Lewandowski, Erling Haaland. 26 games in the Premier League, 25 GA. He's absolutely stupidly good. He's also got 3 goals in the League Cup. I think overall he scored, 24 goals this season, which is an unbelievable return, you know. And Newcastle did have a lot of chances. They did have the ball in the back of the net in the first. Just before that, you know, some decent footwork by Isak. Passes it into the path of Barnes, who taps it in. You know, Newcastle come out the traps flying early doors. You know, Brentford were causing them problems as well. Buemo, decent effort. Pope makes a big, big save. I'm a big fan of Buemo, and of course, Newcastle have been heavily linked with this guy. So it wouldn't surprise me if they make a move for him again in the summer. They did make a number of changes. They brought in Damsgaard, who's another good player. And of course, Brentford got the equaliser from their star man, Buemo. A decent penalty, sends poke the wrong way into the bottom corner. Composure, as you like. And when Eddie Howe made this change, I thought, I'm not sure about that. He brought on Callum Wilson for Isak. I thought at that time making the change, Alexander Isak in the form he's in, go out there and get the winner. He brought on Joe Willock for Jacob Murphy. Shog obviously got booked. There was a number of yellow cards. And then Barnes plays in Tonali. And this goal is absolutely ridiculously good. It is stupidly good. You know, runs up. It's basically near the far corner flag. And it reminded me of like Maicon's goal or a Roberto Carlos-esque goal. You know, scoring from nearly a corner, catches Flecken, you know, not in the best of positions. It ends up going in, you know, and they make it 2-1, you know. They, of course, brought on Marley at the end. They brought on a Kraft to kind of secure that win. You know, it's a big 3 points for Newcastle, especially when they've got aspirations to get into the top 4 this season. They're only 1 point as it stands with a game in hand off of Manchester City. Now, I did predict, and I'm sticking with my prediction, that Newcastle United will finish 3rd. Now, people are saying that's a bold prediction. I'm sticking with it. They win their game in hand, they're on 53 points. They're only 4 points off of Nottingham Forest if they win that game in hand. You know, Chelsea have also got to play tomorrow night. This top 4 race is exciting. It's very exciting. Aston Villa, of course, won 3-0 tonight away to Brighton, which was a very, very big win for them. You know, but when you look at it like on paper, I don't really know. I don't even know right now who I honestly think will finish 5th. I'm probably going to edge Manchester City because it's City. But I think the top 4, we could see a world in which it could be Forest and Newcastle. But you look at Newcastle's games they've got coming up, right? You look at their overall matches. Of course, they've just beaten Brentford. They've got Leicester, Crystal Palace, and Ipswich all in their next 5 games. But they also have to play Aston Villa and Man United. That Leicester game, I expect them to go and score 3 or 4 goals on Monday past Leicester. Leicester are a poor side. Man United, who knows? Man United probably will make heavily rotation looking forward to their Europa League game against Lyon. I'm probably going to back Newcastle to win that as well. Then they've got Crystal Palace. I'm going to say it. I think they win that as well. I think they beat Ipswich. Villa, I think they'll probably take a draw. But if I told all the Geordies and all the Newcastle fans around the world, then in your next 5 games, you'd pick up 13 points, I think you'd bite your hand off. I think you'd absolutely bite your hand off for that. You know, a really, really good 3 games for Newcastle, beating West Ham away in the league, beating Liverpool in the cup, beating Forest and all recently, and now beating Brentford. You know, they are actually on really, really good form in the Premier League. You know, they've won their last 4 games. Beat Forest, beat West Ham, beat Brentford. They won their last 3 games. Other than Liverpool, I forgot that game as well. But I'm sticking my prediction. I'm gonna predict them to finish 3rd. I think the top 2 are the top 2, and I don't think anyone right now is going to get near the top 2. But the way Newcastle are playing, as long as you've got Isak when Gordon comes back, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, you know, I love their fullback pairing. They've got Livramento and Hall as well. I think they can cause most teams big problems. At times, Livramento is a little bit questionable defending. But going forward, they are both a threat. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like I said, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video as well. And for Newcastle fans, it's a good time. You know, they got 5 or 6 days rest now because they haven't got to play until Monday night, where they will go to the King Power. And like I said, I think they'll score 3 or 4 goals. Then they don't play for 6 days again. They play Man United, knowing the fact that Man United as well would have played a Europa League game. listen, I think they'll do the job. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button. I am out.